Welcome to The Explainer. We're all hearing constantly about the AI revolution, right? But today, we're going to look past the code and the algorithms and talk about the actual physical stuff that makes it all run. We're talking steel, silicon, and a whole lot of power. This is where the digital dream smacks right into some very real, very solid walls. I mean, just listen to the scale of the ambition here. A gigawatt. That's basically a whole nuclear power plant's worth of energy. And the goal is to build that much new computing power every single week. It's an absolutely astronomical vision. But, as we'll see, that vision is running headfirst into reality. So let's really get into it. What are the physical hurdles that can actually slow down this whole AI gold rush? We're going to break this whole thing down layer by layer from the tiniest transistors all the way up to the global economy. All right, first stop is the very heart of the machine, the specialized chips that do all the heavy lifting. You know, the brains of the operation. Without them, none of this works. But actually making them is getting really, really tough. I mean, this quote from 2023 just says it all, doesn't it? The hunger for high-end GPUs like NVIDIA's H100 just exploded. It happened so fast, it created this massive global shortage. You had huge, well-funded AI projects getting put on hold for one simple reason. They literally couldn't buy the hardware. Now, here's what's so fascinating. You'd think the hardest part is etching the silicon itself, right? Well, it turns out the real bottleneck was the super complicated final step called advanced packaging. It's where you fuse the super fast memory directly onto the GPU. Think of it like this. You've built the world's fastest engine, but you can't find a company that can build a transmission that can handle it. That one little step basically controlled the entire world's supply. And the pressure is just everywhere in the supply chain. The giant chip factories, the fabs, are running at 110%, but it's not enough. There are shortages of that high-speed memory the GPUs need to gobble up data. Even the basic materials are getting tight. The whole thing is this delicate, interconnected web, and right now, pretty much every single thread is stretched to its breaking point. Okay, so let's say you manage to get the chips. Awesome. But where do you put them? Not just one, but thousands or tens of thousands of them. So let's zoom out from the chip to the colossal buildings that house them, the new AI factories. And this is where the problems get a whole lot bigger. Just look at how power use has exploded. A decade ago, a rack of servers might pull, 5 kilowatts? Today, your standard AI rack is pulling 10 times that, and the really high-end ones are pushing past 140 kilowatts. To put that in perspective, a single cabinet of computers can now use as much electricity as an entire block of houses. It's wild. Now, all that power creates a ton of heat. And for years, the solution was simple. Just blast everything with giant air conditioners. But we've hit a wall, a physical wall. You can't move heat away fast enough with just air anymore. And that's forcing this huge, complicated, and expensive shift to liquid cooling. Yeah, we're literally building plumbing for servers now. And this isn't just some abstract technical problem. It has very real consequences. Get this, a couple years back, near London, the demand for power from new data centers was so intense that the local utility had to literally ban new housing developments. They couldn't guarantee enough electricity for both. Think about that. We had to choose between computers and homes. This desperate search for land with access to massive amounts of power is even starting to warp real estate markets. In Northern Virginia, which is basically the data center capital of the world, companies are paying over $2 million for a single acre of land, prices you normally only see in a city center, just to build these server farms. Okay, so let's zoom out even further. Let's say you get the chips, you find the land, you secure the power, you're good to go, right? Haha, not so fast. You still have to actually build the thing. And that means navigating the absolute maze of the global supply chain, where one missing part can stop a billion-dollar project dead in its tracks. First off, there's the building itself. Pouring the concrete, putting up the steel. It's a huge construction project. Just to get the empty building ready for servers, you're looking at about 2 years. That's before a single computer's even turned on. But here's the real kicker. Your shiny new data center is ready in 2 years. Great. But getting the utility company to build the new substations and run the massive high-voltage lines to power it up, that can take 4 years, or even longer. It's this crazy mismatch in timelines that's giving the whole industry a massive headache. And the delays pop up in the most unexpected places.
Seriously, we're not talking about some bleeding edge tech here. This is a power transformer. It's basically a big, boring metal box that's been around for a century. But they're super complicated to build, and with everyone building data centers and upgrading the grid at once, the waiting list for one of these is now over 3 years long.
And that's just one example. The list just goes on and on. Electrical switchgear, backup generators, even basic fiber optic cables. A delay in any single one of these seemingly simple components can have a domino effect, stalling the entire project. It really shows you just how fragile this whole global network is. So let's say you do it. You navigate that supply chain maze and all the parts finally show up. But there's one more bottleneck. And this one might be the hardest to solve. Because it's not about hardware. It's about people. You can have all the gear in the world, but somebody has to know how to put it all together and make it work. The numbers on this are just stark. Look at the gap. The world needs way more AI experts than we have. For every 3 open jobs in the field, there's only about 1 qualified person to fill them. It is a full-blown talent war out there. And here's the thing that gets overlooked. It's not just about PhDs who can write algorithms. The shortage goes way deeper. We are desperate for skilled electricians, for technicians who understand these new liquid cooling systems, and for the power engineers who can actually plan and build out the grid. We need the people who build the physical world too.
This quote just nails it. We have these huge, bold ambitions for what AI can do. But if we don't have enough skilled people to actually build the foundation, all the ambition in the world won't matter. The human talent gap could be the ultimate speed limit on innovation.
Which brings us to the final layer, the one that everything else rests on. Because you can fix all of these other bottlenecks, you can build more factories, you can train more people, you can lay more cables, but it all requires one thing, a truly staggering amount of money. So how much are we talking about? Well, one estimate says that just to keep up with AI demand, the world needs to invest over $5 trillion by 2030. And that's not just the fancy data centers. That's for all the new power plants and grid upgrades to support them. It's a number so big, it's almost hard to comprehend. And that leads to the ultimate trillion-dollar question, doesn't it? Who is going to write checks that big? Is it going to be big tech? Governments? And with the future profitability of AI still a big question mark, is it a gamble that investors are willing to take on that scale? So when you strip everything else away, the real limits on AI's future might not be our imagination. It might be physics. It might be global supply chains. It's about finding enough skilled people. And at the end of the day, it's about finance. The vision for an AI-powered future is incredible. But the real question is whether we're ready, or even able, to foot the very, very real bill to build it.